I will take the effects off just to be... I don't want to, though. And it's a very focused vintage sound. That's an amazing chord. Let me show you that.
I love that chord.
You can leave this here if you want. You didn't record that. Let's record. Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Damn, dude.
Y'all are some badass dudes.
No, dude, you too. Welcome to Tim and Pete's Guitar Show. Justin Derrico.
Yes.
Oh my God,
It's nice to be here, guys.
that was amazing.
And he's on the left too, which is where he needs to be.
Yeah, we both look at you. I like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, we're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, me too.
Incredible. This show is it's like so nice because it's been this organic thing where we've got so many friends, guitar players and friends. I saw you the other day and you were like, "Hey man, I saw this show and it's really cool." I'm like, "Dude, come on and do it." And it's been like that where it's just been completely organic, I feel like, in the...
Yeah, this was a nice surprise. I was nervous last night. I was nervous
I was
driving
too,
here,
man.
and I'm nervous now.
But it's
Must
like
be doing something right.
Yeah.
It's like a good nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because, like, you know, I spend most of my nights probably learning all your guitar parts.
No, you don't. Thanks for saying that.
You'd be surprised.
Do you ever find it's like,
So I'm gonna start.
on this?
Now that I know you, I'm gonna start calling you. Hey, were you capoed on the
You're right,
fret
yeah.
or?
Call me anytime.
Don't you find there's songs that come up where you're like, I wonder who played on that, man. The tone's so good.
Yeah.
The part is so, and it's like, oh, it's Tim. Of course.
Yeah.
You look at it.
Yeah.
This happens all the time.
No, that's great, man.
Oh, dude, incredible. So, Justin, of course, well known for being a total badass, playing on the road with Pink for a long, long time, and now you're working on The Voice.
The Voice, yeah.
And God, I have so many questions about that.
Me too.
Yeah,
That world.
it's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's a killer gig, man. Just to be in town and the band, like, they're amazing dudes, amazing players, and we pretty much just sit around and bullshit all day in the headphones.
Well, yeah.
Because it's the only way to keep our sanity.
I know how hard you guys work when you record, and I'm going to talk to you about that.
Yeah,
But
sure.
we have my friend Mikey Wright that I went to high school
Yeah.
with is your. What is his actual title? It's
So Mikey,
he kind of handles all of the
he's kind of like
production, the stage, right?
he looks after me mostly,
Yeah.
but his I guess his role is like I guess you'd say he's like chief backline.
Yeah, gotcha.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or sort of like the
Yeah.
crew chief for
Yeah.
all the techs and the PAs for the band and all that stuff.
Sometimes when I work at Henson, you guys are working next door,
Mhm.
and I'm done,
Yeah.
and you guys are about halfway through.
Halfway through, yeah.
And it's like I keep asking Mikey how many songs today, how
Yeah.
many hours today, and
So what's
it's
that like? Is
yeah.
it like you have to learn like how many songs a week? Kind of thing?
Well, it depends. Like, there's like different stages of the show. So there's the blinds, the battle rounds, the knockouts, then the lives.
Okay.
So and then everything's taped until we get to the lives. When we start out the whole process, we usually have to learn like anywhere between like 120 to 200 songs, but we'll do it
Yeah.
like we usually do it in about 2 weeks. And the band, we just
I can't even. That's what people need to. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
what you guys have to do.
Yeah.
So what's that ritual like? Like how do you do that?
Well, it's gotten a lot easier. Like the
Yeah.
first 2 seasons, I was just memorizing everything, and like I'd go home, I'd listen, memorize it all, and I started to like etch out childhood memories and stuff because your brain's can only take so much abuse. But
Sorry.
it's all right. But then now we have people that do charts for us and stuff,
great,
and
Okay.
they're really 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 helpful.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And then we'll learn like the show versions, which are like anywhere from, depending on what part of the show we're in, it's like a minute and a half of a song, or 2.5 minutes, and then by the time we get to the end, it's like 3 minutes. But when we record all the iTunes stuff, we do that. Like say we're in the lives.
That's what I'm familiar with. That. Yeah. Right.
So lives, it's 7 days a week. And so Monday show, Tuesday show, Wednesday, Thursday we shoot reality with all the contestants, where it's like the band rehearsal with the artist and the coach, and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Fridays we're in Henson recording, and it's anywhere from 12 to 15 songs on the Friday.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then how long does that day go usually?
Usually, man, we've gotten pretty good. Like it's usually we start about 9 or 10 in the morning,
Yeah.
and then we're typically out there by 7 or 8. Yeah.
Right.
What an amazing thing. And to be able to stay in town and have a great in-town gig and work's really cool because you're
It's
married,
amazing.
right? And
Yeah,
it's like, you
yeah.
know, family and stuff, you want to be at home, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool, like, for like, myself and my wife, like, I met her, I was telling you a story earlier, but I met her on Pink. She was one of the dancers, but she's also a really great singer. And so she sings backups for Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So,
So she travels.
she travels
a lot.
too. So she
Yeah.
she knows the
understands.
drill.
Gets
and,
the
yeah,
lifestyle.
She gets it.
Right.
So it's a little.
Yeah.
My situation is probably a little bit easier than some, but it's hard though sometimes because we're going this way, like. you know.
Yeah, but it's wonderful because a lot of people say to me about this stuff, relationships and stuff. They say, "Oh, it's gonna be really hard for you to, you know, you musicians to ever." And I'm like, man, I got all kinds of friends that have made it work.
Yeah, of course.
You know, creative lifestyles
Yeah.
and it just you figure it out.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
just make it work.
Yeah. No, it's
Hopeless romantics.
yes, hopeless.
But when Pink calls for a tour, that you got to do that. You do that every
I do
single
that.
time.
Yeah, I've been with her for 10 years, and I love her so much, man. She's like become like family, you know, and
Wow,
and
cool.
it's such a great gig. The whole band on that, and the crew, everybody, like they've all been there for the last 10 years, and it's
It's
just
like
like
family.
it's a big, it's a whole extended family. So. It's really cool that Paul Markovich, the MD, he's very loyal.
He holds your chair.
Yeah,
That's people don't realize how
which is really
that's
amazing.
rare.
Yeah.
That's really
That's,
special.
yeah. Well, it's a credit to your skill and your.
Well, and he's just a
you
great
know,
guy. Too,
yeah.
you
Not,
know.
yeah.
I mean, you're a
Yeah.
big part of. There's
Yeah.
not too many people. I mean, if you guys haven't seen, go on YouTube or something and check out Justin play. Like, I mean, you guys, she really utilizes your skills in the show, which
Right.
is one of the-
Yeah.
it's amazing. I mean, what was you
Oh,
guys?
Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You.
Babe, I'm Gonna Leave
Oh,
You, that's
yeah,
what I
man,
meant to say.
that was like the coolest thing I've ever gotten to, like one of the coolest things with her. Everything, like every tour, there's always something really fun.
Yeah.
Like we did that tour, we did Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, and we did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right, Bohemian Rhapsody. I
And
saw
which was
that
just
too.
amazing. And she loves to do covers, and she loves to do really cool covers. But she has no problem with us being ourselves, like as the band. You know, it's
Yeah.
like take her music, let's work on it, let's get it tight, rocking for the show, but let's also make it translate live so it's fun for everybody, and it's not just a complete reproduction of the record, which is awesome as well. But it's there's a more of a rock and roll element to her live stuff, which there's like some balls behind it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I have this thing and with her where it's like, I mean, this is just me. You know, I love what she does and everything, but I'm waiting for her to come out with that rock and roll record.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I actually did a tune with her in the studio with Linda Perry, and we tracked like live, like guitar, bass, drums, and just her singing, and I was like, damn,
She's
like,
amazing, dude. She's unbelievable.
and can perform too while she's doing that. That's what's crazy. All the stuff she does, like
Like
acrobatic
it's
stuff,
funny
and
too
she's
because a lot
singing.
of people, like when we did the Grammys and she's spinning in the, and that's a lot of people don't realize, like they think that was the Grammys performance, but that's how we finished the show every
That's
night.
just part of your show.
That was just part of
Right.
the show.
Wow.
And she's
That's cool.
really singing. Like
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw her do that. Because I mean, when I started with her, that was the first big tour I'd ever done. I toured with like The Calling.
The Calling, Alex.
Alex.
Like
Yeah,
Alex,
yeah. And Aaron and
Yeah.
awesome guys. But this was kind of another level. Like this was like big arenas.
Yeah.
And like big production and a sort of different world. But I remember the first time I saw her doing that stuff. Like we were playing Sober, which is one of her songs, and she did this trapeze act with this acrobat, and she's up in the air, literally doing trapeze, like flying around
Yeah.
and singing for real. And like I almost screwed up because I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I was
Right,
like,
right.
I,
Really happened?
I better play this perfect because if I mess up, it'll mess her up, and then she's gonna fall, and then we're all fucked.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So, but yeah, she's pretty incredible, man.
So tell us a little bit about, like, you've got Les Paul here
Mm-hmm.
today, and is that kind of what you gravitate towards? Like,
Typically,
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I just, for whatever reason, it's funny because I grew up playing Strats and stuff like that. But then I picked up a Les Paul for the first time, and it was like I felt very at home. And yeah, I love them, man. This one's the Ronnie Montrose.
Oh wow.
Um,
Beautiful.
I guess I don't know what they. I guess it's like a replica of his.
Okay.
But
yeah.
it's
Well, I bet that neck
killer,
feels good.
killer. Yeah, it's like
Finish
a
one up.
58, I think, and it's just a great guitar. And I don't know if you guys know Dory Lobel.
I don't.
No.
So Dory, he's like an old friend of mine from MI days, and he killer guitar player. But he's the one who fills in for me on the voice. When I go to do
okay.
Pink,
Yeah.
or he'll fill in for the other guitar player, Dave Barry.
Right.
Okay.
Because Dave plays with Cher as well, and he went to Guitar Center in Hollywood, played this guitar, and called me up. He's like, "Dude, you got to buy this guitar. It's unbelievable. You have to buy this guitar. You have to buy this guitar." I was like,
oh, another Les Paul.
Why aren't you buying it? You're like, He's like, "No, man, no, you have to have it."
Okay, so it's kind of just exactly the right weight. Okay, so I get that straight away.
Is it like about?
It's
like,
just a little.
that
It's got a
neck.
little bit of weight,
It's
right?
got a great neck.
Yeah,
too,
and it's
yeah.
really
With
kind
no
of
push.
round.
Yeah, that's
It's
amazing.
got like a 59.
It's
Really bright,
springy,
yeah.
kind of like. I'm gonna write a riff right now. Yeah. I like the fact that it's a really not a very gaudy flame. It's kind of like there's a little flame in there, but it looks almost like a plain top at
Yeah.
certain angles.
That was a great riff.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, we got it.
My
very
favorite part
special.
is actually just the edges of the headstock. The way it's just like, I don't know what you call that, but it's just, the way it's worn. It's just kind of cool.
Well, it's totally aged and everything. That's all.
But it's cool, like you said, Tim. It's like it's kind of a plain top, and then from certain angles you sort of see like.
yeah.
Yeah, not too like they really were. You know, they weren't too fancy back in the day.
Glad that didn't go off during the.
During the riff.
I like it.
Actually, pretty nice.
You could play it.
Yeah. Exactly.
No doubt. Damn Les Pauls. That guy played Led Zeppelin riffs in all of our shows, so why not? You know?
Keep doing it.
You gotta do it. Yeah. That's bitching. It's funny that way. A lot of there was one YouTube comment on one of the videos that we the last video that we put up, and somebody commented and they said like, "I hope you guys show us some of the guitars that aren't endorsement related or something." It was a very nice comment, but he was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Show us, you know, I hope you show us some of your favorite guitars." And the funny thing is that. I commented back. I said, "Well, actually, we have been, and I think everything we've shown are guitars that we bought and paid for, nothing endorsed."
Yeah, yeah.
And-
We don't have any of those endorsements, really. I mean, it's
Or if we do, I mean, you've probably got a relationship with Gibson, but
Yeah.
that's not going to stop you from going to Guitar
No.
Center. If there's a bitchin'
Yeah.
guitar that
Yeah.
rings
Yeah.
like nothing else, you got to buy it, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start sending Dory to go get all my guitars from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. I mean, like, yeah, I've gotten a lot of guitars over the years from Gibson, and you know, and they've been great. But then it's like you said, it's like you go into a shop and then you pick up a guitar and you fall in love with it. And it's just there's that thing. It's like I gotta have it.
Just like when you were 12. And you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I like paying for stuff. I find most of the time
Yeah.
it makes me feel better. You know.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about working for something.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah.
it's great to, you get to a certain level and it's true that, you know, but there's special perks and stuff. But yeah, there's, when
It's
you find
fun.
that,
Like in the
you know,
beginning, you start getting like free guitars and stuff. It's like, oh, this is cool. But then it's like you said, like you come back around. It's like, yeah, like that's cool. But like,
Yeah.
like sometimes they would send me guitars or whatever, and you know, it's just me and that guitar aren't a perfect match. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and I would send it back sometimes, occasionally, but yeah, it's
Well, the thing is too, we all get to the point where we care more about the people
exactly
than the guitar, and you're not gonna, you don't want to be disrespectful to anybody who makes these things because they're hard
Yeah.
to make, and
Yeah.
you know, it's
But the
it's
relationship.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important for sure.
Is this? Do you play? This is a PRS, right?
I love Paul, and
Yeah.
he works tirelessly to make his guitars better every month, and he's got some new pickups that he's really excited about, and they're really open and chimey sounding.
Yeah, I
and
mean, this thing sounds amazing.
it sounds great.
Really
Yeah.
sounds good.
It's his new pickups, so I'm trying this thing out, and I'm really happy with it.
It looks great. It
Paul's
sounds
a great
great.
guy.
This guitar is an interesting story. This guitar, I was in a store that is no longer. It was. Do you guys remember Voltage? Of course.
Oh yeah, that's where I met.
That's where I
Mikey.
met you.
Yeah,
I met you at Voltage.
It must have been like 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I was working in a store on. You might remember Vintage Gear.
Yeah,
then, which
right
was-
next door.
right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they had all the kind of funky like Supros
Yeah.
and stuff, and they also had a lot of pedals and stuff. Well, I worked
Yeah.
in that shop in around '98. I worked in there for a while, and I remember hanging out in there one day, and this guitar had come in. Actually, this might have been after I'd stopped working there, but this guitar had come in around 2001 or 2 or something. And Dave Kalish, you guys know Dave?
Yeah,
Kalish?
I know Dave.
He's a good guitar player. He's amazing.
Killer slide player.
Yeah, so we were sitting in, a bunch of guys just hanging out in the store and checking out guitars and vintage gear, and he was playing like a 65 Strat, and it sounded really, really good. But, wow, that sounds great. Let me see that 335. He plugged this thing in and just went like, or whatever, something like that. And,
Yeah.
and he was like, and then we forgot all about the Strat. And I was like, shit, how much is that guitar? And I got a great deal on this thing. It's had 2 headstock brakes.
Those are my favorites. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are my favorites.
Yeah, I know. You're Les Paul.
My
broke, right?
favorite Les Paul, my and there's nothing special about it. It's a 2006 Gibson USA, but it's just me and that guitar have a special bond.
Yeah.
My favorite thing, it broke twice.
Yeah.
Like it broke once. It was on a stand, and somebody walked by and kicked the cable, and it fell out the stand.
Yeah.
And then another time, we finished the first season of The Voice, and I usually always take that guitar home with me, and so I put it in my gig bag after the last show, and put it in my car, and then put it in my studio at home. And then, you know, chilled out for a couple days and went and opened it up, and the headstock just sitting there going like this. I was just like, almost in tears, like, am I gonna have to retire this thing? Am I gonna have to retire it? But luckily I was able to get it fixed.
Really quick,
Yeah.
I had a boutique guitar by a builder that I hadn't purchased yet.
It's gonna be a good story.
And I showed up at Henson to show John Shanks and Johnny Resnick this acoustic guitar. Johnny picked it up and he said, I think there's something wrong with it. The headstock was broken off. I broke the headstock.
And do you know how you did it, or just it was the same
I
sort of
put it
thing?
in. I put it in a soft bag, and I think when I put it in the trunk, I sort of threw it into the trunk.
Oh my god! This one I took. So this had a headstock repair when I got it, and then I went to a gig at the Viper Room. This is terrible. And I took this guitar and I didn't even play it. I took it to a gig. I needed a spare. It's a '63. Like, what was I thinking? You know, like taking it to. Oh, I'll just take that one. you know?
Right.
But it was. I was playing a Les Paul all night or whatever, and then I went, I need a spare. And I'll just grab that. So I grabbed it in the case, took it to the gig, didn't use it all night. Loading out of the Viper Room, you know how it's all this chaos
Yes,
getting
yeah.
out of LA clubs. There's gear all over the sidewalk, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get the next band up and all that. This was sitting in its case on the sidewalk in front of the Viper Room, and a keyboard player came by and hit it with his keyboard case, and the case just went on the sidewalk, like just fell over like that. You know?
shit.
And I thought,
That's a hard case.
Yeah.
probably okay. Open the case.
Yeah.
And it had already had one break, and so I took it to True Tone, and they in Santa Monica, and they looked at it, and the guy was like, "Geez, dude, I don't know." I mean, it was like, you know, one of these. Or
Yeah.
it was just like going a million different directions. And I said, "Come on, man! Like, you've got to." I would have renecked it had it, because it's such a cool guitar, but. He's like, all right, I'll give it a try. So what he did was he actually went and inlaid a bunch of maple dowels like this. Because
Dude,
it was
he did a
such
great
mess.
job, man.
Yeah, it doesn't look perfect, but I said, I don't care how it looks. I said, I just need it to play. And he went and, it's all reinforced with like strips of maple now.
Well, they say it's
And
stronger when they fix it.
I think so.
And then,
Yeah.
Of course.
And then I guess like mine broke in a different place the second time it broke. So hopefully we're good. We're good. Because I mean that was one of those things too. Like it broke while I was on the road with when I was on tour with Pink, and I was on like it was like kind of like midway through the tour, and I was on this just killer stride, playing great every night. I felt really good, and that thing broke, and it kind of broke my spirit a little bit. And it took me a minute to kind of get back there, but it was like it really broke my heart that thing broke. But because I didn't think because that was the first time it ever happened to me, and I was like, I just didn't know like if it could be fixed or what the deal was, or so I was like, I just wrote it off as, man, that thing's gone.
Right.
But it's just funny how that stuff is, man.
It is. I got to tell one more headstock break story because this is kind of funny. I got this Les Paul Custom. It's a black one, and on tour with Chris Cornell, we used to do this thing where I saw Buck Dharma from Blue Oyster Cult do this in that Black and Blue movie. Did you ever see that movie? It's like Black Sabbath and Blue Oyster Cult in a movie that actually played in theaters.
Really?
And they alternate songs. Yeah, it came out in like 80 or 80. It was like Ronnie James Dio era of Black Sabbath. But anyway, I saw Buck Dharma at the end of the show, and they're doing the old like at the end or whatever the last one, and he broke every string like bam, 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 and was left with the low E, just doing that like.
It's awesome.
And I was like, awesome.
You got to do that on
Yeah, just like bam, 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 and then he just left with the one string. I was like, that's cool. So I started doing that on tour with Chris, where I just and sometimes you grab more than one string at a time, and so this Les Paul. And Chris got into it. He'd see me do it, and then he'd come over, and I'd hold the guitar out, and he'd grab it and just go boom and pull all the strings off. So we probably did this like 50 or 60 times on the road. No problem. That guitar was just like solid as a rock. One day in rehearsals in 2009, it was sitting on a stand, and it was a carpeted floor, and I backed up into it, and it just kind of went. It fell over like so slow. Headstock. Boom.
It's crazy. Like the smallest little.
I learned that.
Not
Just at the
here.
wrong angle.
I learned that when I bought that guitar.
Yeah.
He gave it to me for half price, but I bought it.
Jeez.
I just had to. It's a great guitar.
That's nice of him, though.
Yeah, a guy named Butch Boswell, and I use his guitars.
Yeah.
I've bought more of them since then. So.
Oh, crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It was funny. The first time I had mine fixed, it sounded the same, played fine, but I couldn't get it to stay in tune. Like my D string kept going sharp, so I was like, oh, maybe I just need to recut the nut or whatever.
Right.
Did that, nothing worked, and I was always fighting it. I'd be doing this and fighting it from song to song, and then when it broke the second time, I had it fixed by the same guy, and now it stays in tune like it did the first time. So I was like.
Wow.
Yeah. This one was like that. It never really tuned right, and then after that second break, I got it back, and it still didn't tune right. And then I took it to Newark Renson.
Yeah, that's who did mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's something about he really gets how to do nuts and stuff. So he put a little lip on the front of the nut. He said, I don't think the nut is quite at the right spot. So he built it out just a little bit. Now it's like better than it ever was.
There's going to be like a joke in there somewhere, like, how do you get a Les Paul or Gibson to stay in tune?
Break that.
And take it to Newark.
Take it to Newark.
Give Newark Renson a little plug there. He's a great tech.
He is.
For sure.
Between like these days and like, maybe 15, 20 years ago, what's your rig like? Like, do you bring in a lot of stuff?
There was a point when people started getting mad at me because I would bring too big of a rig into sessions. That was in the 90s.
Right.
And I went, uh-oh, okay. And so I scaled down my rig. And now, there's two ways that it happens. It's probably similar for both you guys. There's a cartage sometimes, if they have the money for it. And I'll bring a slightly bigger rig, 4 heads, a pedal board, 2 cabinets. But a lot of times I bring stuff in my trunk, which is 1 amp, a 112, a pedal board, and whatever guitars I can throw in the back seat.
Right.
My big rig now is at home, and I encourage people to come to my house for overdubs because I can offer them a rig that was 5 times as big as my biggest rig ever. So
right.
It's different in different situations, but there was a time, and it was that shift in the 90s when Nirvana showed up and the guitar thing changed.
Right.
I remember bringing my rig into a session, and the producer actually, I could tell he was angry because the stuff just kept coming in. More stuff, more stuff, more stuff. And he was like, I just want a Marshall and a Les Paul.
Yeah.
Did you ever find in the '90s that they didn't want it to sound like a guitar anymore? I found
Yeah,
that. You
that
play a
was the
solo,
thing.
and they were like, "Can you like?" And
You
end up
play
putting
like
a
you're 12
Leslie.
years old.
Yeah.
There was that. Yeah. No vibrato.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make it sound like
Or-
like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny, man. It's funny how like a lot of times, I'm sure you both of you guys probably run into it a lot. It's like, and it's a cool thing, but like a lot of times, like can you play like you just really suck? It's like,
Yeah.
come on, I do that all the time.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, yes.
When I used to work for Linda Perry, she used to make me drink sometimes. So it'd be
Really?
like,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to having a drink every now and then. So I'd have the second bringing me tequila shots in the studio. She's like, "It's too tight. Like you need to just
Yeah,
be
it needs to be
sloppier.
sloppy, yeah.
Have another shot."
There is a charm to that stuff, though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of the guitar. People don't want you to sound too professional. It
Yeah.
really is part of it.
Part of rock and roll.
It's
Yeah.
funny because
Yeah.
you grow up sort of at least in my mind, like shaping like, oh, I got to be perfect. I got to know all this. I got to know how to do all this stuff. And then you actually really start working, and it all kind of goes out the window in a sense, like certain things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I find like with the gigs, it's like it's a good thing though to have that sort of like you really worked hard on technique and stuff like that, and then when you get on stage, you can just sort of let it go, play at 80% or 70% of your ability, and be
Right.
performing with
Right.
the other 30% and be an extrovert or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you need to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's like I always want to be awesome. Well,
Yeah,
I'm always
yeah,
practicing,
yeah.
always practicing.
Yeah.
I still take lessons, but it's a funny thing. I mean, for the voice, for sure. Like, because we're jumping from R&B to rock and roll to this to that to this that and the other thing, and I mean, a lot of country stuff as well.
But you're moving so fast. That's the thing about the studio that's great for me is that I'm not allowed to take 10 hours on a part, and I could go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
Yeah.
Or an hour or whatever.
Right.
You're moving fast, and it kind of makes things spontaneous, and it
Yeah.
protects you from over-analyzing and over-perfecting
Overthinking
stuff.
it,
So
yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that's a situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's like a lot of times. Sometimes the first time we ever play anything, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And even when we're just learning the
Yeah.
song, and sometimes not. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes we're like, oh,
Yeah.
what's that? But a lot of times though, like we'll play stuff and it's like, oh my god, that was amazing,
Yeah.
and then you're
Yeah.
gonna do it again, and it's like it's still good, but it's just not as. Like
Yeah.
you said, the spontaneity thing is so cool.
Left to my own devices, if I'm just recording by myself, I'll do things like 50 times. So
Yeah,
it's like,
Yeah.
same.
like,
Yeah,
you
me
know,
too.
you
That's
know
just
what I
the
mean?
way
It's
we're
just-
made, you know.
Yeah.
And then you get in a room with people, and it's like the
Yeah.
first couple seem to be you're just on or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You can't analyze. It's great.
Well, and they see the value in just your energy,
Mhm.
basically, and they don't let you spoil it by over-perfecting it. It's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Okay, this is cool gear. We're talking about cool gear for this week.
Yeah, I endorse this pedal. It's got my name on it, and it's really good. Rocket Pedals made this pedal, and
I like it.
Wait, so this is your pedal, huh?
it is. Yeah,
Oh,
check it
wow.
out. They did the glasses, which I'm so grateful for.
And it's on my pedal board, I'd like to say. I got one.
That's the thing. This was not planned.
awesome.
He put it on his pedal board, which it's great. A lot of people enjoy this pedal. I really like it too. It has two basic pedals inside one, and the first one is basically designed on the premise of a Naylor SuperDrive 60 power section.
Okay.
And it's a very kind of clean. Now the great thing is you set this amp up with the clean channel. That's the tone. It's almost like a clean boost. It just
Yeah.
kind of expands. And then the other side of the pedal is a more traditional overdrive.
Great, man.
So it's a really good pedal. I'm happy they did this. They're a great company. All their pedals are really good too.
Having used that thing, I love it because it's a real warm amp-like overdrive. It's not like a TS type or something. It's more like an amp channel, right?
Well, you found the sweet spot. You definitely did. I'm gonna actually take a photo of this. Go
Wherever
set
it was
mine
set.
like this.
It's almost like everything's on half. You know,
You're
Like,
right.
That's kind of where
Yeah.
that's where I found it kind of really good. But it just works great in front of a good clean amp.
It's really clear too.
Yeah,
Like you hear all the, like when you hit a big G chord, you really hear like all the notes.
Yeah.
And it
Totally.
goes. It'll go further, but I like the sweet spot used.
So, this amp has my name on it. I'll do the same thing.
This is your amp?
That's my amp. Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's awesome, man.
Oh, thanks. It's oh, that sounds great.
Man, your amp sucks, dude.
Okay, so my cool gear for this week, surprise, surprise, I had to do it at some point, is my own amp, my signature amp. It's the PT100 from Sir. So this was basically, we designed this thing to be like the ultimate gigging road machine with a kind of American clean channel and British style channel 2 and channel 3. It's built like a brick shit house and just sounds really good. As you've heard with Tim's pedal, the channel 1 takes pedals really great. It's got a lot in common with a Plexi when it comes to sort of the power amp. It's got a Plexi output transformer and sort of it's very Marshall inspired in the power section. But it has a really beautiful kind of a really nice pure clean tone that works really good for, you know, pushing with pedals and stuff. And then channel, I've got some delay and reverb in the loop right now. So channel 2.
It's got some balls, man.
Yeah, and it's actually not that loud right now. We've got it set like it's
No, it's comfortable.
comfortable. It's
Yeah.
got really good master volume.
What?
So what? Oh, sorry. Channel 3. Sounds like that.
Nice lick.
And then it's got a thanks. And then it's got a built-in boost, which is cool. And this is it's a MOSFET boost. It's basically like having a killer MOSFET overdrive in front of the amp, but it's running off the amp's internal power, so it's like 250 volts. So it's super high headroom. Long story short, it sounds like part of the amp when you turn it on. So the boost you can actually use in front of any of the channels, which is nice too. It effectively gives you like 6 different switchable channels of gain.
The thing I like, everything sounds open. It's not compressed
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
really organic.
Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
That's nice.
it's my baby, and thanks to John Suhr for working so hard with me on it. Hey, thanks for joining us on Tim and Pete's Guitar Show. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you guys.
Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure. You guys are some badass dudes, and
You too.
I appreciate that, man.
Crazy licks. That was amazing.
Thanks.
Wonderful to hear you play. Tell us about any social media or links or whatever you want people to visit.
You could find me on Twitter, Justin Derrico.
Instagram, I saw it.
Instagram,
Your website.
The Real Justin
You
Derrico.
have actually a really good website.
Yeah, JustinDerrico.com. There's links to my record, which has been out for a while. It's
Really
awesome.
cool.
It's on iTunes as well.
On the lessons too. Is it Jam Track? What's the
Oh
company
yes,
that does the
and
lessons?
I just did that.
Awesome.
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
push
did
that,
a recent thing called what I think it's called West Coast Licks.
Yeah, I saw it's great.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I gotta get that. I gotta
It's,
learn some more.
learn some of that.
Yeah,
Work on that.
I only know those licks. So. But yeah, it's jamtrackscentral.com and
Yeah, you play your lick. Right?
Yeah, I play my one lick. I just do it, fast, then slow, then fast, then slow, and then we change
It's a
keys.
good lick.
And that's the 20 licks.
It's a sweet lick.
But Jam Tracks has been a really fun thing to do.
It's great
so.
stuff.
So
Awesome.
thank you guys again, though. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And subscribe to our channels if you get the chance on YouTube.
Please
Pete's
do.
channel and my channel.
Yeah, come back and see us real soon for more Tim and Pete's Guitar Show. Over and out.
I cannot do this without
You said, let's do this.
It's fun. We're having fun. We don't really know what the fuck we're doing.
No,
these are
early days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have me on when it gets better.